Greetings, everybody, and welcome to episode 34 of the Sickcast, aka the Siblings in Cardboard podcast. I'm your host, Donnie, joined by my buddies slash co-hosts, Noah and Thomas. Whether you're a veteran card gamer or a first-timer just testing the waters, we are all siblings in cardboard. Noah, are you all right, buddy? You look like
he's having
you're
himself
cutting up over there.
The thing is, I was gonna say who's gonna do it, and I literally pulled it up because I was like, maybe I should do it, and then you just went into it. So I was like, all right. I was like, okay. No, that was it. I was just having a good time. I was humorous. I'm having a good time. I'm having a good time. It's a good Monday. Usually Mondays are it's Monday.
I mean, it is a Monday. The weekend's finally over. I got through last week's assignments, and this week doesn't look any easier. I am actually probably going to end up skipping the armory tomorrow just so I can stay home and do some work. And that doesn't feel good. Doesn't feel good. I want to play some Flesh and Blood, but
Nobody wants to skip Tuesday Armory.
The more paper events I've gone into now has just like me always jonesing to play in paper. Talishar just doesn't cut it.
It doesn't scratch the same itch.
No,
it really doesn't.
And now my only event that I can like consistently get to is the Friday night armory because I'm teaching on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so I missed the Tuesday armory as well. But we did play a lot of Flesh and Blood this weekend because it's basically ProQuest for Georgia. I don't think we have one like Tifton, which is farther away than Alabama for me. Like next week, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, Saturday was the only one that I was going to be able to get to. I mean, there was no hope of me going to any others, regardless of how close they are, just because that's the budget, I guess, I've worked out with my wife. The compromise. Yeah, I'm not allowed to go every weekend to events. Happy spouse, happy house, and all that good jazz, right?
I mean, it's kind of hard too because even the lighter events like ProQuest, if you do well, you're there till like 8.
Oh, it's taxing.
So it's the whole day.
Now,
and it was
this Saturday was one of my better runs, actually. I mean, you guys know I was kind of down for a little while about where I was at as far as my play skill and everything. Do you remember how many people we actually had at the PQ on Saturday? I mean, I know it was around 30, but do you remember a hard number?
I think it capped out. I think maybe one person didn't end up coming, so it maybe dropped to 31. I think the cap was 32.
Okay. I ended up going 3-2, which was good enough for 11th place after tiebreakers. And that is significantly better than I thought I was going to do any time in the last few weeks, because I've just been continuously losing at armories and continuously losing on Talishar, and I felt so beat down lately. So it was nice to come away from it with a positive record, you know.
I think it's a good time to practice Assassin. Typically, the set where heroes get cards, all those heroes get a pretty significant power buff. And they're very relevant in the meta, so when Mistveil comes out, Assassin will probably be quite good.
I mean, I'm 100% in on new. Like, it's not even funny at this point. Matter of fact, anybody that's paid attention to our YouTube channel in the last week or so will probably recognize the video I put out about joining the cult of new. If you're listening and you're interested in new, or I guess assassins in general, but mostly new, go join the Discord. Join the cult of new. We have cookies.
Assassin-focused Discord, more specifically, going to be targeted towards new. I guess the easiest way to compare it is if like Levia and Mansant's Discord.
Yeah, it was kind of, full disclosure, it was kind of modeled after the League of Levia that Mansant created, taking a little bit away from that, but yeah, I mean, I like the way he got everything set up. So that's kind of what I'm trying to emulate.
I think it's a good idea. I mean, get in on the ground floor, have people who like the character get in there and talk. A lot of the best ideas for Levia have either come from that Discord or from Mansant working in his team to create a lot of the lists. I know I have a lot of influence
so
in
full
there.
Of myself to think
My list.
I'm not so.
I think my list.
Go ahead.
sorry, we're kind of crossing each other up. And I think my list that I developed in there for the RTN season picked up like 3 RTN wins, and I got second.
Nice.
So you could hopefully do the same thing for new.
Yeah, not a chance. I am not
Don't
I am
sell
not
yourself
talented
short.
enough at Flesh and Blood. Dude,
That's not how that
I'm not good
works.
at this game. I do my best. I do my best, but I am not Manzant by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not going to be to New Alluring Desire what Manzant is to Levia. It's
We'll
just
see.
I can dream. I can dream, and I will dream because I have all the love in the world, all the passion for that hero. But
You're
we'll see.
creating the building blocks. You've got the space. You'll get the people. Conversation happens. Who knows? It only takes one talk about a card, and everybody's different angles of thinking about it. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's new. It's a new project. It's something else that I'm taking on, and
It
it's
is a new
there's some bugs to
project.
be worked out. There's some bugs to be worked out, some things to be tweaked in the Discord server and everything. I'm learning, so everybody that does join, thank you, and please bear with me. Yeah, that's it. I
Don't
just
bear with.
please bear with me.
Send them PMs. Get what's going on? This doesn't work. No.
I got too much on my plate, man.
So
Don't do
messing
that.
around. Don't harp on Donnie.
I think before we get into the weekend discussion, because we've got PQs in San Francisco to talk about, we should knock out our market minute.
Shoot. All right.
Because
Yeah,
things are going to start revving up heading into national season, right?
They are, and I'm waiting for it. I look at the best-selling page on TCG Player, and I scroll through maybe 80 pages sometimes. Like, I just, I look, and sometimes you can't always tell at a glance, because the prices don't mean anything that are posted there. Sometimes you really have to get in there. Like, they could say, whatever, $155, like this one card in particular, but it's not really. You have to read between the lines. It's like the last time it's sold.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's, we're I'm waiting for it. Things have moved, obviously. I mean, we could talk about a million things, from all sorts of heroes, but we're gonna focus on our normal little spread that we've been doing recently, because I really like it. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and start with the card that I need to actually pick up a playset of. Physically don't have them. In fact, I actually got rid of the one I had, and that's Amnesia. Amnesia is a
Need one more.
2-cost. Huh? You need one more? Yeah, it's a really good card. I think
It is
everybody
a
should
good
have
card.
a playset of it. Amnesia came from Outsiders. It is a 2-cost red, so it pitches for 1, 6 attack, 3 block. Love those 3 blocks. And it says when this hits a hero, cards and tokens they own lose and can't gain names. Start of your next. It's a popper, technically, unless Triumph's
It's
on the
also a
board.
block 3, unlike a lot of other 2 for 6 reds that disrupt. You've got Command and Conquer, and then you have like Amnesia. All the other ones are block 2.
Yeah, Humble's block 2.
Race Face.
They're all, Race Face is block 2, and then if you want another block 3, you got to drop it down to like Censor or Bingo, and those are 5s. And Bingo's a meme. Although I really like the card. But Amnesia is really there for Katsu. Katsu has to kind of block it, or the cards lose names. It's also there for Prism, I guess. If you do get a hit off, the heralds lose names. Don't necessarily count as heralds, so I don't think they can go to Soul. I'm not.
It still go to
mistaken.
Soul. It just
They
doesn't
go
count
to
as a
Soul,
herald.
Soul,
going
it
to
just
Soul.
doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't trigger Prism's ability, I believe.
Okay. I know that there's a targeting factor for Prism on it. But it's a solid card. It's one of those meta targeting cards. It's obviously going to fluctuate, so now it's on the high side. But it's looking at, it's $10 a card for normals. I think foils are slightly higher. Foils are at 15, and that's up from, let's see here, up from $4, $3 just on the 17th of April. I mean, I guess if you go back a little bit more,
I
where
feel like 10's a little high. The card is good and it's got its uses, but I don't know if it's $30 for a playset.
I mean, the card can only get the card can only get more uses, right? I mean, the more heroes they bring out, the more options it has. I'm not saying that it's going to shoot through the roof and it's going to be the next hottest staple you've ever seen. and you probably don't have to pick it up right now. I think it's really riding the high just due to the meta.
It might get
But
better because of Zen.
I was literally about to say the same thing.
Yeah.
With Zen coming out and also caring about the names of things like Crouching Tigers.
And maybe
Okay.
Enigma,
There's a bit more
'cause
use
the
coming.
spectral shields would lose their name if you got hit. But if you
Also
also
spectral
if you get
shields.
hit by it, you don't have any spectral shields. So
but you're gonna make some on your turn, right? And then they're not gonna have the name. So I think it is a safe card to get your play set. Maybe try and find a trade for it. You don't have to spend $30. There's some moderately played ones right now. If you don't really care about conditions, some light played ones. Watch it. I mean, like $10 is roughly where it's at, but I'm sure you could probably grab them for 5, 6, 7, which is pretty reasonable. And you don't need to go for the foil. The foil ones are probably going to hold their value. Usually, when a card gets its staple, the foil version kind of gets a little out there. The next card we're going to talk about actually is probably double jointed why it's going up, and it hasn't like surged, but I saw it on the front page of the best selling. It doesn't surprise me at all, and that's Premeditate. Premeditate is another card from Outsiders. Got a trend going here, but
Azalea is winning games.
Azalea is winning games.
Fair.
There's also a new Ranger on the rise. Maybe we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But I
wanted to talk about him too.
I actually think that we do have a new Ranger on the rise. And Premeditate is an amazing card. So Premeditate is a 0 cost red, so it only pitches for 1, 2 block. The next time an attack action card hits a hero this turn, create a ponder token. The next attack action card you play from Arsenal gains +3. Go again. Notice it doesn't say arrow. Usually Rangers are the ones that use it because they're shooting from the Arsenal. Could be anything you throw from Arsenal. Just majority of the time it's a Ranger that's using it because they can easily put something in the Arsenal.
It's like it pretty much has to only be Ranger because it's going to be heroes that interact almost exclusively out of the Arsenal to get its value. But gosh, it is a 0 for 6 if you get value on the ponder token, right?
Yep. I mean that. What more could you ask for, right? Pump it by 3, gets over, it hits, even by 1. Probably a myriad of other on hit effects that you're gonna have with it, and then you ponder up and put it in Arsenal. And you couldn't ask for a better. For both Rangers, whether you're trenching that out of Arsenal and getting a resource and then replaying a card if you're Riptide, or whether you're Azalea and you're gonna flip it over and off. So it's a staple. It is sitting right now at $23 for the normal ones, and
Ranger is so expensive.
I was gonna say that's kind of where it's been, but it was a below $20 card at the end of May. You probably could have squeaked them out at about 16, 19. It's trending upwards, and so I want to draw attention to it because I feel like with the recent success, well, say success, but with the recent lists and the recent cards that have been spoiled, I think Premeditate goes up if Riptide and Azalea continue to have success. There'll just be more people looking at Ranger. Staple, you're going to have to pick it. Now, this next card, sorry, let me cut you off.
No, you good, man. I was just thinking, what do you think about a one-of copy of Premeditate in an assassin list just for the interaction with Codex of Frailty?
I think it's the same, like, I think you're looking along the same kind of, what do they want to call that? Like
High
Holy
roll?
Grail. Yeah, Holy Grail high roll of me pummeling a CNC in a warrior deck just because I have access to. I'm just saying, like, if it hits, my God, you're gaming. You know what I mean? But are you really gonna bank your having a 2-block in your 2-block in your deck extra for that one interaction? Now, granted, Azuri does play from the Arsenal sometimes if they're not
with Death Touch and
there
there's a few
things that come from the Arsenal, but that means you're literally not blocking. And instead of just playing out maybe the card from Arsenal for free or for whatever, you're now having to hold that extra card. Granted, it replaces itself. No, I mean, look, the way you win this game is unpredictability sometimes and spice because
we're doing unfair things,
right? Or if you play 2 cookie cutter, then what's the point?
That if it hits, then you'd get 2 ponders, and that's not really good. So, probably not worth trying.
Oh, that's true. I mean, off of your scenario, yeah, because you have the Codex of Frailty hit as well. But there's 1 card. So,
I mean,
when you throw
Nimbleism already does so much work.
Just
Yeah,
and it kind of
nimblism is good.
interacts with the way that you're working your deck out anyway. But a Leave No Witness from Arsenal for 7 does sound pretty. Not gonna
Yeah,
lie.
with nimblism.
Or Cut to the Chase, which are also good
Yeah,
cards.
yeah. See, okay, and they and Cut to the Chase blocks for 3.
So I
Sure
just,
It
does.
also
by the way, I just loaded an Azalea deck on TCG Player, and it's like $700.
Is that it? Really?
That's like lowest edition of everything. The Bolton shots are like 60 cents a piece on their own, which is crazy to me.
Do the
all the
same thing
shots.
with an Uzuri deck. See what that brings it out to.
I was gonna say my
Pain.
warrior
Brings it out to pain.
deck's $1,200 without the heart, 1,400 with the heart.
By the way, Azalea doesn't run any Marvel or Fables, so
No, but as Azalea's cards are expensive because of the codexes. The premeditates are expensive. The her headpiece is still pretty expensive.
Tunic.
Not that much. Tunic, obviously, because you're gonna have to run Tunic. What else? Like don't really run CNCs. You run another popper. They're pretty interchangeable. I
yeah,
guess
dude, Azuri is pretty upsetting. Why is this so expensive? What card
The
is
codexes
causing
are a lot of it.
this? But
A lot of it's
Azalea
the
runs
codexes.
codexes.
Black Tech Whispers are expensive. Usually you have to run kind of
Dude,
a crown.
Y'all don't even
Crown's
want to hear
expensive.
this number.
Flick Knives, Tunic, Balance. I guess does Uzuri get run a balance in the
No
sideboard?
way. Already Deads are still $40 a piece.
Oh yeah, and Already Dead's $40 a piece, non-foil, and that card will.
Never mind. It
will
combined my
go up.
cards. It combined my cards. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Okay. So I said the Azalea was 700. That means Azuri's about 1,000.
Ish.
Already Dead's a pricey card. It will go up again once.
I think the card's amazing, but it's so niche when it actually does something other than just hit for 6.
It's a pretty good silver generator against the Warriors.
Respect it. Oh, it is.
Okay. Yeah. I see it.
Anyway, Noah, sorry. Carry on, buddy.
It's okay. It's okay. This is part of the market minute technically because it is deck related expenses, so it all works out. The next card is a card that's trending up that I actually got rid of. I think I'm still holding on to one of them, and that's Singularity, because I am a huge proponent of Teklo actually gaining huge stocks. It's a slow meta. I don't know. It's not that slow. But it is. It's
grindy.
slower. There's a lot of D-reacts, and I think Teklo will actually have decent play into decks that are trying to play defensive, even mid-range decks that don't potentially put out enough damage throughput. I know there's probably going to be aggressive Riptide lists, but I actually put Teklo as a decent matchup for that. You don't usually put Go Again. Majority of your attacks don't have Go Again or gain power unless you're the one physically doing that. That won't be till way later when hopefully you run them out of
your
times.
gun.
Well, that's later on when you've equipped a bunch of stuff. You don't have to throw the gun. You could value out with just annihilators for 7 over and over again.
That's not necessarily true. I mean, the matchup's more nuanced than that, but I have more insider information on that matchup than the average person.
Well, yeah, that's right. I guess you've watched a lot of Teklo.
A lot of Teklo and a lot of Riptide, which we'll talk about.
But it is on the rise. Nothing crazy. It's not going to the moon, but it has popped up a little bit. It's sitting at 33 right now when it was kind of below 30. And I actually think it'll go up. I think Teklo, the Marvels have already started to be bought out of the equipment on TCG. Some of them, usually it's the gloves and the boots that people are really targeting.
Well, it's because they do double duty. You also use those in Dash as well.
Yeah.
And the gloves, sometimes the gloves in Max, there are spicy Max lists that use a little bit of that stuff.
So the crossover as well. But I'm not saying you got to go fire sale on your Teklo stuff, but if you really want to play the deck, which I kind of want to piece it together,
I disagree. If you like Teklovossen, you should buy it now.
Well, okay.
It'll probably only go up.
I kind of want to put Dio together.
I mean, it probably will only go up. I think he's a fair deck to put eyes on in this Singularity, for those who don't know, it came out of Bright Lights. It's a legendary card. You can only have one of them in your deck. It costs 6. It's a red pitch. It blocks for 3. Hopefully, you don't have to block with it. And it transforms your hero and your weapon, and 4 evos you have equipped. So you have to have a full evo base. Into Teklovossen, the Potent, and it enters the arena with life equal to the hero it transformed from. So you keep whatever life you're at, and then you flip the card over, and the card has 6 attack, 6 block, 3 intellect, and whatever life you had. Action 3, banish 2 cards from your soul attack. And your soul is pretty much everything that was under your evos. So if you've went from a base to another evo base or whatever to an evo that's now not a base, you take all those cards, put it into there, and
the card is so incredibly complex. You really can't do it justice without seeing it played. Essentially, it's one of those combo cards. Each of the blue evo soul base pieces has some effect when you play the Singularity that like increases your intellect for 2 turns, lets you put 2 cards back into your deck, gives you action points, and so on. So it's kind of like one of those wombo combos. If you resolve it, you're not supposed to lose.
Yeah, pretty much. So do pick up your Singularity. Do pick up your evos while they're low. You don't need to get the marbles. They really.
How much was Singularity?
Singularity's 33 right now.
33? Yeah,
33 for the non-foil. That's low. I mean, again, right now that's totally fair. It's a one of it. It probably won't go to the moon, but I would see it hitting $50.
Even non-Marvel, it's very rare.
Yeah. Now we're going to talk about. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. We're going to talk about cards to dump, and we're going to talk about cards to pick up. This might be a pretty obvious dump, but maybe not, because Phi's still lingering around. But Flamescale Furnace, it's going to be pretty dead for a long time. Granted, I think Phi's still using an Emperor, maybe.
It's definitely Emperor. Phi can switch between a couple of different chess pieces. So, but Flamescale Furnace, in my opinion, is still his best. It blocks 3.
I mean, I don't see Phi right now being very relevant. I don't think he's unfair at all. I think if you're playing Phi, you might as well just play Katsu or Zen coming. I think there's just way more unfair stuff going on.
I think we won't see any Phi stonks until we get the sequel to Uprising, honestly.
Right. Yeah, I agree. So I
depends on the ninja stuff. It depends on the ninja stuff and part the Mistveil.
Tenacity didn't bring him back. That card is cracked.
He doesn't get to take advantage of a long enough chain that. Well, I mean, I guess he does because of
my eyebrow just like shot straight into the roof. He still has the longest chain of any hero by far. Like
I think Katsu can technically go a little longer if he has the right.
The Phoenix Flame, man. The added Phoenix Flame.
But you're not blocking Phoenix
crazy value.
You're just not blocking.
Yeah, so you saw the wound
not
instead.
Getting extra. Well, I'm sorry, any 5 mains out there. I'm not trying to.
By the way, you do block the Phoenix Flame. By the way, if you have 1 block on a piece of gear and the Phoenix Flame's coming in at the end, you throw it in front because your 1 block can sometimes block for 2 if they decide to salt the wound, and sometimes they just didn't even think about it, and it's their last attack, and now they can't break Mopple.
It's all situational.
It is.
Sometimes you're not blocking that Phoenix Flame. I mean, with a card from hand, at least. Let's put it that way. Unless you're about to die.
Phi. Phi was really fun back when we had Belittle.
The phrase is literally Phi goes wide.
Well, we're about to see if Zen can go wider.
If the meta slows down even more, I think Phi gets better because Phi is an aggro deck that really can't be fatigued if you play him correctly.
No, he also feasts. There's only 4 cards that you can block with 5. You count the arsenal and armor. Trust me, those breakpoints get there eventually. I actually do not like playing Hatchet Story. I find it really unfun. I'm just getting waylaid against, and it's really hard to justify keeping 2 cards while there's an 8 chain link sitting there staring me down. It's rough. It's really rough. And then the more you block with, you just get hosed by Tenacity, and you don't block, you get hosed by Salt. It feels good either way. This card, though, it's not Coercive Tendency, even though you should probably go pick it up. I think Arachne one day will be real. That card's like $3, and it's way too good to be. It's just
Coercive Tendency is only $3.
Yeah, it's only $3. I'll
Yeah.
double check it, but I'm
The
almost
card is
positive.
so strong.
It's so ridiculous that I just don't know. I don't know what they were thinking. But this is a different card. Yeah, $3.65 to be. That's cheap. Oh,
Okay
no,
then.
no, never mind. We're good. We're good. Those are all rainbow foils. I was like, it's $9 now. I'm lying. But this is Starstruck. Starstruck is low right now because Bravo is completely null. It doesn't exist. There
Yeah.
are 8,000 D reacts. Most of the people in the meta have access to fridges that are out of control. Warriors have insane fridges. Brutes have insane fridges.
4-card 13 just isn't enough
Assassin-
anymore.
Yeah, it just really isn't. It's not. This card has taken a huge battering. I remember when the normal Starstrucks, you pull a Starstruck from Dusk Till Dawn, and you're looking at like $15. I mean, like back in its, I don't want to say heyday, but back when it was really, really rolling hot, it's down to $6 right now, and that's
Wow.
cheap.
Wow.
That card is by far busted.
Starstruck is
Just
extremely good. It is yellow, which is unfortunate, but it's really, really strong. It's funny, Bravo's specializations are so crazy.
Yeah.
But he just doesn't get the numbers that, like, I think Victor's the better Guardian. I know a lot of
Victor
people
right
are
now
so
is the
done with
better
Victor.
Guardian. Yeah. Victor suffers from, I'm not
KO.
playing a matchup that's interacting.
KO. Victor suffers from KO.
Because KO says you won't win that clash.
Yeah,
so
you're not
why are
winning
you
a clash
trying?
this game, and I go taller than you could possibly ever block, so you can't try to
And wider
take me down.
in some situations.
And
Starstruck is,
KO has a fridge.
yeah, the access to a great fridge. I mean, like brutes have access to some big armor. I mean, warriors do too, but that brute fridge looks good. Starstruck is a yellow. It's a 7 cost yellow, pitches for 2. Bravo specialization, so you have to be Bravo, and it has a crush effect, like all good Guardian cards do. When this deals 4 or more damage to a hero, the only attacks they may play or activate during their next turn are attacks with base greater than the damage dealt this way. It also has a unity effect where if it defends together with a card from hand, you create it. So it's got 10 attack,
Forgot
3
about
defense, 7 cost to play it. It's a really good card. Universal card, great.
To be
But
fair,
I mean, again,
if we wanted to bring Bravo back, I think some more unity effects that give him seismic surges could maybe do it, because he does like to block. A blue card that gives him a surge. How about that? Because it's a tunic deck, so it's better than having tunic every 3 turns. Sometimes having a tunic in the middle of that 3-turn cycle. I mean,
would be
Spinal
nice.
Crush is quite good when you only have to pitch 1 card for it.
yes,
Yeah, it is.
leaves you open to a lot of other things to do with those resources, like activate Bravo's effect. And
So, speaking of KO, so he is the winner by a small margin for ProQuest Week 2. He was at 15 wins. Azalea was right behind with 14, and Prism and Victor right behind that with 13. I'm actually surprised at the Victor win, considering that KO and Prism are not good matchups for Victor at all.
Prism isn't a good matchup,
Nope.
even though he's got a bunch of Guardian poppers.
What do you care about poppers? You just put out Arclight Sentinel and go, oh, that's cool. I'll just keep doing this until you die.
Oh, yeah. The loop. I forgot about the loop.
So Victor does have some play, because you just start throwing go again effects into them, maybe kill them before they even get to do anything, and he could totally do that. He is pretty good at covering up heralds without popping them as well, so he can pop the first one, then cover up the second one without popping them, so the person can't use the boots or something like that. So
Victor suffers though because he can't clash with the allies, which is if I'm not
can't clash with the allies, and he can't even reliably win every clash against the Prism either, because the Prism does have 7s in her deck. So he's beating some of Victor's 6s and 5s that are floating around in there.
Yeah, usually revealing like a blue what is it, thunk, or the one that, like, if you win a clash with this, those are like 5s or 6s on the blue side.
6s,
So
yeah. The thunks and stuff are blue 6s, and they lose to or tie with a lot of Prism's Heralds.
And some of the clash cards that they do, clash of the blue clash cards they block with this are only 5s.
Yeah, and Arclight Sentinel.
Yeah, with Arclight Sentinel, and he doesn't really have access to extra action points.
Yeah, he has to run time skippers, which I don't know if people are really putting that in their sideboard, but people need to respect Prism. Respect Prism. Like, the Dromai is gone now, so people are like, oh, can we just like disrespect Illusionist? No, you can't. Prism is good. We have like some incredible Prism players in our area. Prism is really good. And the better the player, the more like unfair it seems to get, because they're better at evaluating the life, when to use ward, when to break the halo, and the better they get at that, the less games you're going to win against them, because you just managed to run them down. Andrew Cook is a incredibly powerful Prism player. If you go look up his stats, like from past events he's been going to, consistently playing high, and we have to deal with him all the time. He's here.
Yeah. Top 4 Battle Hardened Atlanta, won the Saturday PQ, and then
top 2
second place
on
Sunday. Yeah, just crushing it with Prism lately. We really don't have a choice. We've got to show a little bit more respect.
5 Teklovossens.
5 Teklovossen wins. Yeah.
Fab TCG decided they needed to post on Facebook about it.
That future now.
He went from like 0 Living Legend points to picking up 5 PQs. So congrats on Teklovossen. Dromai being gone is definitely translating to wins. I think there's a little bit of Kano fatigue where the Kano players are on a couple decks, different decks, because it's just like the Battle Hard Atlanta had a ton of Kanos. Then PQ Plus, 1 Kano. And then at my first PQ, 1 Kano. Second PQ, 1 Kano.
There was 2 Kanos on Saturday.
Were there 2?
One of the Louisiana thing.
Yep.
The folks that
the
came
Louisiana
up
guy
with that group, or it was yeah, or he was, one was on Vincent. I think he was on Victor, but there was another Kano for sure. There was definitely another Kano there on Saturday.
Were there 2?
I know that for a fact.
There were 2. Justin and the other guy were playing a game for fun right next to me. Actually, it was hurting my brain.
Justin wasn't.
And they were playing a mirror match.
Okay,
for
Justin
fun.
did play Kano.
Justin was on Kano. You played him.
Oh yeah, I did. I beat him. That's right.
What?
I forgot. Because I keep in my head, he's like, I'm not going to play Kano anymore, and then he keeps coming in and playing Kano, and we're just like, Justin, why are you still playing Kano?
There's a close up of Majin Bay with a big old like sour face. They're like the face when you realize there's 2 dash in top 8. You know what I mean? Like they even posted that, because you got like.
And then I played Dash IO this weekend, and if Dash is a bad matchup for Kano, Dash IO is even worse, because it's all the things that Dash does, except I also put out dissolving shields and mini force fields, and the Kano's just like, he could go shields down, and I literally can't kill him.
They never know if you got a shield sitting on top.
That too. Yeah, it's like, oh, he's only got blue in hand. What can he possibly do? Oh, surprise! I could AV 2 and prevent 3. I think Dash IO is a pretty good pick for our meta. I think it's great. I lost my first round to a Prism, and then won out through the rest of the game. I've got my notes here. What was it? Let's see. Completely got flattened by my buddy Cristiano on Prism, who is, I guess, my arch nemesis at the moment. It's not that like I win or lose to him consistently. It's just we've been together in 4 events, and we've faced off in round 1 in all 4 events. I've been to 4 events where he's there, and we've fought in round 1 in all 4 events.
Huh.
So Saturday, round 1 was Cristiano.
It's faded.
Sunday, round 1 was Cristiano. Then
he beat me up in round 3.
Then I played an Azuri, who I don't think knew the Dash IO matchup very much. Can't blame them. I played a Victor who made a small misplay and kept a big hand to try to deal me damage. Probably should have just tried to fatigue me. And so basically gave up the ability to fatigue immediately. And so after that, I just full gas into him. Played Justin on Kano. The life total I had at the end when he kind of conceded out was 22, but it's always closer than that with Kano, right?
Always like a card or two away from some crazy.
I played against, I think, Andrew on Azalea and just high rolled super hard. And then I scooped to Will in round 1 of top 8 because he's going to Amsterdam, and I was like, okay, I'll give you a shot at it, and just scooped because I'm not going to Amsterdam. Then Sunday, I went undefeated until I got to the end, sat down across from Andrew Cook on Prism and said, I don't feel like playing this stressful matchup, and I'm hungry and I want lunch. And the added benefit was that I knew for a fact that if he beat me, he could not be 8th seed, and I was guaranteed 1st seed. So I knew I wouldn't face him in round 1 either. So I was just like, this is the easiest scoop of my life. I will be going to get a hamburger. I will be back.
That makes sense. You're already locked. Take the time, mental, whatever, take a second.
I did some unfair stuff on Sunday. Like I did into a Prism, I played a double max V turn.
Ooh.
And that was not the unfair turn.
Yeah, that's just caption that. There's a meme somewhere we can concoct.
The unfair turn was,
and that wasn't even the most unfair.
The unfair
part.
turn was the double high octane that resulted into a BIOS updated Teklo pounder, and I shot my gun 8 times in 1 turn.
That's
oh,
see, that's why I want to play that amount of width can't exist in any other deck. That's ridiculous.
Imagine having this fleet of angels and I'm just shooting for 2 over and over again. Because you know me, I'm super cheeky, right? I'm doing my double high octane turn. I'm like, high octane. High octane. Ooh, dissolving shield on top.
Yeah, let me just flash.
And so he doesn't know that's on top, but I play 2 high octanes and I have no extra action points. I go gun for 2. And he's like, oh, man. So he had some interesting tech, though, because he had the Ironhide gauntlets. So he actually blocked it for 2, even 2, because he's going to pitch anyway. But yeah, then I crank the dissolving shield off top, go back up to 6 gun counters. And then I boost 1 time, shoot down to 1 action point again. I boost another time, shoot down to 1 action point again. By that time, all his angels are just toast. Like, I've hammered them down and just boost a couple more times into him and kill him by a lot. And then did the same thing to Andrew Lorenz in round 1, top 8. He was on Viscerai. I got to like choose how to kill him, so I tried to high roll where I got to throw a heist and then a max V, but then I missed my blue off the top. So only got to heist. Shucks. I put him to like -8 instead of -18. Dang.
Oh darn. We couldn't overkill by a whole half a life.
I faced our buddy Chris. He was on KO, and I drew all of my items except for 1 Teklo pounder and 2 protocol reds in my first 5 hands.
Ooh.
And
Wow,
I ended the
especially
game.
against
I ended the game with 5 cards in deck, and 2 of them were high octane.
That's not what you
So
want, obviously.
It still came down to, I think he was at 12 health. I still kind of ground him down a bit. I value traded a lot because the one good thing about the deck that the way it's built is if you are seeing a lot of the items, that means you're seeing a lot of the shields, and so you can actually do some pretty good value trades as long as you use your arsenal effectively. So it was good. It was fun. I like Dash IO a lot. It was a nice break after playing 26 rounds of Katsu the previous weekend. I don't know what I'm going to do for Nats yet. I want to do unfair stuff. So it's very much.
Dio does really
That's the name of the game right now.
unfair stuff.
Katsu and
Dio's also
Cheeky
really
burst
unpredictable. And but like Katsu's not net. I mean, they know the card pool, but they never know what's on the top. You know what I mean? Like
you can kind of stop the Katsu, right? The Katsu goes for his big turn, and you block it out, and he throws the Art of War. You throw the Take It on the chin, and the Katsu goes, "I'm sad because I Art of War and I needed to discard a card and get another card to keep going." Where Dash.io, once I play the high octane, you're not stopping me except for like scaling fleshbag. Like I'm coming
I
in.
mean, and even then, you're gonna gain usually 2-3 action points, even getting scowling, and
I don't know.
your guns
Scaling
come. Yeah,
scaling can be pretty painful. Because I show what I'm doing right at the start. Where Katsu's the opposite. Katsu actually doesn't care that much about scaling most of the time. You play around it. You banish your cards. The first thing hits. I mean, you could break the Mopple, banish one card, discard a card, banish another card. What's he gonna fleshbag?
Fair enough.
that's true.
What did you guys? Donnie talked about Azuri. He had a good run on Azuri. I think you had some wiggity whack Dorinthia that you stayed up till like 4 a.m. brewing, right?
No, that was weeks ago when I didn't have any sleep at the PQ Plus. That was
the PQ Plus.
No, I played Donnie actually in round 1. I was on normal hatchets. I was on a decent hatchet list. I felt okay with the picks. I have a decimator swap in for I have a decimator swap in. I mean, obviously, we're getting there.
You should
It's
have
only
one.
for it's only for Riptide, Azuri, and Arachne, which I technically lost both the matchups I swapped it in for. Not necessarily because of the axe. I overblocked a lot in the match versus Donnie. I think I respected a lot of the blue cards and the swap ins. I didn't know the list at all, which is just inexperience. So I got gotcha'd quite a bit by spreading plague on hands where I probably couldn't have paid for it.
What does spreading plague do?
Spreading plague is a 0 cost, if I'm not mistaken, yellow card. 1 cost.
That's how you can know sometimes it's coming for you.
Oh, it costs 1. What do you?
Tunic is up, or if you have 1 floating.
Spreading plague is an attack reaction that costs 1. That's a yellow card that says, I think for the amount of cards on the chain defending it, you create that many blood rot.
The chain link. Yeah, that particular chain link.
And so if I put the dynamos down, or I put like 2 or 3 cards because I'm worried about shred, or I'm worried about a swap in, next thing I know, I'm sitting at 3 blood
rot pox. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can get up to 4 on some.
Oh, trust me.
It is so nice. I love that card so much.
The coolest thing I think I've ever seen in Azuri do is they set it up, they did the swap, they had like a 3 block, and then the shred, and then the D-react, and then the spreading plague, and it's just like you're still taking 8.
I've been hit before with the death touch that flick knives hit the D-react, and then he's spreading pegged after cutting to the chase. And I've had 5 blood rot pox because he gave me one from the death touch. I had an all red hand, and I literally just hit.
Dude, you got spreading plague and got hit.
I hit Arsenal pass and took 10 damage, and I was just like, I'm losing this game. Like there's no coming back from this at all. But it was a close game. I mean, we went down to the wire. I felt I overblocked in some situations. I felt some of my hands maybe didn't translate to enough damage with the axe. Maybe I wasn't swinging enough. I was probably playing a little too cautious. But Donnie,
I think spreading plague is my favorite assassin card, other than maybe Shakedown.
That card now terrorizes me. That's like kryptonite to me now. I'm gonna have nightmares about that card.
You know, on Saturday, you were asking me what the difference was between my first round against you and the second round, where I literally faced another Decimator Axe Dory. I think it was the fact that our game almost went to time, and we were literally the last ones in the round playing, so everybody knew what I was packing at that point as well. I mean, it wasn't just that, Randall is a fantastic player. He is. But there was a little bit more information going around in round 2. You know what I mean?
Right. No, yeah.
Also, Randall is tracking your pitch stack.
Yeah. He's super talented, man. I don't pay attention to pitch stack. I'm not good at this game. I already said that.
I try to, but again, I don't think I played it poorly, but I think there was definitely some decisions that needed to be tweaked. But again, it's a learning experience. I was a little frustrated on Saturday, not necessarily that I was playing bad. Some games got away from me that I didn't think they should have got away from. I played a Dorinthia Mirror in round 2 on hatchets, and it was a player that didn't have the most up to date deck. There was some awkward cards, and that was a pretty easy one to walk down. I think I 3 swung off of and killed him. which was probably the most closing power you really need. It was pretty brutal. I it was a brutal finish. Or no, it was overpower. That's what it was. I ended up giving it dominate, and or I routed. I routed. He was able to cover the route with 2D reacts, and then I just overpowered anyway. Which is sometimes what you do later on in the game. You have blue overpower.
Yeah,
One
that's
hell of a
how
card.
Randall beat Donnie. Was a blue overpower for a
Uh,
closeout.
blue overpower, literally probably the best card I think.
It is. It
ever in
is
the
a not very good red. It is a quite strong blue.
Yeah. There are better
Yeah, to be
options
fair,
in
though,
my opinion for red. Sorry, no.
sorry, man. It was an exciting weekend, and everybody's got a lot to say.
No.
We all we all trying to talk. The that game against Randall also almost came down to time. I already had it in my head. I was close. I was very close to fatigue. If the time in the round had been called, I was completely prepared to concede. So I knew I was losing that game, but I wanted to play it out and see what happened. But yes, I did die to a blue overpower right there.
I think the loss, based on the cards, was deterministic for you, Donnie. At that point, you had like 2 minutes left. I saw y'all pick up the speed, so that was nice that both y'all realized that. It's also nice that there's people keeping track of the timer too.
Well, we were doing the same. I think they called like 15 minutes, but I knew how we were like. I was just trying to like, let's just,
We have
because I
good
didn't want to
judges
get
in
to
our
that
area.
situation.
Yes,
Um,
sure do.
but that was so I was 1-1. I played a Riptide. I did not realize it was a Dreadbore Riptide, which actually did not make the matchup any easier that I had Decimator.
That's just a knowledge gap. How do you sit across from a Riptide and not know that he's gonna flip Dreadbore? Come on, man.
Well, you flip Dreadbore, I still have to play the game no matter what the same way.
Yeah,
I mean,
you just saw Arsenal the D-reacts.
I put but if you get 3 in the hand, you physically cannot block anything. So now I'm sitting here looking at an 11 with on hits. I can't block if I try.
That's why they run Dreadbore. It's a good bow.
I had some wacky hands with full of D-reacts, and then I ended up having to pitch those D-reacts, so I drew them later and got ruined by them again. So it was a nightmare because like I can't keep them. I can't go wide with 3 red cards. It was weird. I also used my armor, gave the first attack go again for some silly reason. I used the armor way too early. I gave an attack go again early. I had some really weird misplay. That one actually sat with me really wrong. Not that I should have just auto won, but I ended up fatiguing him pretty much out of cards. And I think had I played just slightly smarter at the beginning, it would have been an easier walk down fatigue. But that's okay. I took that one. That one was rough. Then I played against a Victor who was a very close game, almost went down to time as well. I ended up losing that one because of Dominate in the end that I couldn't stop. So I started to realize that I can't use all the D-reacts early against Victor, even though it's really comfy to go sink below on Miller's Grindstone. I need to just give the card plus Dynamo, or I need to slow it down, or I need to just maybe even let a Miller's me. Although it's kind of risky. I don't want to get hit by Millers.
I think maybe you could let the Millers hit like once if you have any attacks in the deck at all. And see if you get lucky and maybe knock a counter off of it. But after that, you really don't want to like lose cards out of your deck.
There was a couple of really unfortunates. He had to block with 2 pummels early. I saw him pitch a pummel next to a Macho Grande. I was tracking it, at least I thought. But then I started getting so stressed about the fact that how am I going to block the Dominates when they come? And I guess he blocked with the pummel and I didn't miss that. I missed it. So I was like sitting here worried about a pummel that didn't technically exist. But the big one was I physically could not block out a whatever one destroys a piece of equipment, and so he was able to nix my my dynamos.
Oh, you got mangled?
I physically had to take it, or there was no way to win the game. If I block it out there, I used too many power cards that would close the game, and so I would just give away my win condition. I'd give away my spill blood. I'd give away a red hit and run. I was like I'm gonna lose the game if I do it this way. But
you run hatchets,
I thought about
by the way?
I was on hatchet. Yeah, I was running hatchets. I thought about it though, and I was like, you know what? I was like, I just got to pitch the D-reacts. I said, there's damage earlier I can take. I don't have to be that life preserved. I mean, I was sitting at like 37 while he was at like 22. So like, I had
Yeah, you
the
could use your
lead,
life as a
but I
resource
could
more.
have used a life better. So I tried to do that in a future Victor game, which I did end up playing a Victor again, and it was our boy Sea Doves on Victor, which
Mhm.
was one of the most fun games I've had. Victor is still completely unfair sometimes. I think playing he trounced me 3 turns in a row, won every single trounce. One clashes twice off the cards that say reveal and get a might token. So he just go, hey, look, clash, win it. Oh, look, clash, win it again. 2 might tokens plus the one from trounce plus the. I'm like, this is so unfair. I mean, and you draw like this is unfair. Like
Well,
this is really unfair.
that's his
And
hero
he's not
power.
running. I know, and he's not running pummels. So I was like, dude, if you were running pummels, I said I was dead like 3 turns. But I did have a couple of D reacts that I pitched down, like a shunt and some stink blows, and I tried to play it with a little bit of knowledge. I ended up doing a 3-turn spill blood and
Maybe if he was
3-turn
running
spill blood.
pummels, he would have lost the trounce.
Lost the trouts. That is true. He was playing a deck to win clashes, to be fair, which is why he built it without the pummels. And it was still really good. I mean, you'd think, oh, there's no him throwing these big
The
8s and 9s and 10s still hurt. Like 10 Macho Grandes come out of nowhere. There's 3 reds and 3 blues. I have to block all 6 of those Macho Grandes, but dominate. Technically, the lower I get on life, it's not fun. He was on Miller's as well. He did use his armor probably a little early. There's some inexperience there, but Victor still for me is a tough one. I thought it would be a better matchup with hatchets, not necessarily a free win, but like I'm able to get there with the value, and it's rough. It's really rough, even with a whole deck full of D react. It's rough.
Dorinthia
It was a
did
rough
see
matchup.
a small slump in wins. I'm sure she was pretty highly represented, but she only picked up 6 wins in ProQuest. If you kind of lump Kasai and Dorinthia together, you can
And they're
kind
too
of lump them
different.
together. They play a little differently. They
Kasai has
11 wins.
better closing power, in my opinion. Kasai also can come back when you're on the back foot because of things like Raise an Army and Blood
Two
on Her
gold
Hands.
two gold raise an army is pretty strong.
Yeah. Whereas I don't have anything outside of my 3 spill bloods and my 3 red hit and runs to really create these unfair turns. Now I was on a little bit of a weird list. I was running singings, which I think are actually really good. I think singings are really good in the hatchets. If somebody blocks a 3 on your first hit, you automatically get reprised and you could just blow them out and you guarantee a 3 swing. So I think singing is really
I
good.
think
I
the
ended up
last
2-3.
Oh,
But
sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
no. I ended up 2-3. And I took a lot from the day. It took me a minute to like not be super upset with it, but like I learned from it. Like it was a good learning day, even though the Riptide one really rubbed me the wrong way. But that's just because I blew my armor. That's on me. It's all on me. It's inexperience and lack of practice. 100%.
So I think the last notable metric is that Riptide picked up 4 wins. One of those being Nathan Crawford, who posted a video about it. And if anyone was on Talishar earlier today and you hated it because there were literally like 30 Riptide games, you could blame Nathan and Damien and Jeff, all from the Card Guys Discord. They did that to you. Blame them.
Thanks a lot.
And there's actually like
there's
a long inside story to why Nathan even ended up on Riptide at that PQ. It's all really funny. And he said that he was playing his opponent, and his opponent, like while they're playing, is like, "Do you even run Command and Conquer?" And Nathan's like, "I don't know. If I see one, we'll both know."
That's as good. That's as good as the answer that Jose gave. We were playing on Friday Night Armory, where the guy was like, "How many nourishings do you have?" And he's like, 3. And I was like, "Good answer, Jose." He meant how many do you have left? And he was like, "Just count them." Like, I won't tell you. I got 3 of them. I got 3 of them. Don't worry.
And
oh, it's good. It's good stuff.
How many pummels do you run?
Perfect. By the way, perfect segue into the spoiler card we got, Murky Water. This is a Riptide specialization. It is a 2 for 6 3-block red that says when this hits, you get to banish 3 trap cards from your graveyard face down and pick one randomly and put it into your arsenal. And if it has an aim counter on it, it gets +1 in dominate. This is everything Riptide wanted. Yes, it is hard to get an aim counter because no, you're not going to run Barb Castaway as a bow just for this arrow. It's just not happening. You're going to have to run
Sandscour, maybe.
You're going to have to run either maybe Sandscour, but Death Dealer's so strong. You're probably going to have to run 1 or 2 point the tips, pitch stack them together, close out the game with, your like 11 dominate arrow. They basically gave it has the dirty word on it. The dirty word that they don't want to give to things anymore. It has it. So apparently LSS is still okay printing cards with the word dominate on them. You have to jump through some hoops, but I mean, point the tip isn't even that bad. It has, and then even if you don't get to do it right, Bloodrot Pox arrow, the Bloodrot arrow gets +1 by having an aim counter on it. So it has a little bit more play than just the Murky Waters. I think that arrow's fantastic, and it blocks 3.
Yeah,
and it's a 6.
Oh yeah, it's doing triple duty. Popper blocks 3.
Literally everything.
Yeah, it gets access to the legendary traps that he has back into the deck.
Can you imagine?
Oh,
can you imagine getting hit by Buzzsaw Trap twice in a single game?
Oh,
or Collapsing Trap?
Do you have to show the opponent
what? God, Tar Pit Trap is so good into so many heroes, and getting hit with a Tar Pit Trap 4 times in a game would probably make me lose my mind.
Do you have to show the trap that's going back into the deck?
No, because they go face down.
Yeah, face down. It's randomly chosen and then put back in.
You get to see the 3 that you pick. So if they pick like all 3 of the like Tar Pit Trap, you got a Tar Pit Trap sitting in Arsenal.
Oh yeah, you could just pick all 3 of the same trap.
Also, and your opponent, you're telling your opponent you have a trap in Arsenal too, right? So they might just go pass. So might want to try to keep that chess piece up.
Unless you're running New Horizon,
you might want to keep New Horizons up. Pick one. Don't give up both. Shoot that arrow. Put a trap in your arsenal because your opponent's probably going to pass after that.
Which means Sandscours. I saw somebody post on Twitter a while ago that Coalfoil New Horizons are under $100 right now. I don't think that's going to last very much longer.
I think that's, if you like Ranger, you should pick that up. It's a beautiful piece of equipment, and if we get anything even close to Lexi, that's clearly going to be the helmet you run.
I mean, Lexi will come back someday.
And Riptide runs it. It's Riptide's preferred helmet for sure. You don't want Skullbone cross wraps. Long Draw Half Glove is our next spoiler that we got. Another piece of Ranger gear. It's a Battle Worn 1 gloves piece that says you put 2 cards from either your arsenal or your hand on the bottom of your deck, and then your next arrow that turn gets +4. Is it bottom of the deck or discard? I'd have to look, but I can't click on my Discord or it'll mess up the stream. This one is less good than, because Bullseye Bracers is already so powerful, but it is Battle Worn 1. It does get around Warmonger's Diplomacy if you have a non-attack action in your arsenal. So it's like really good versus Katsu. Like really good versus Katsu, because that Battle Worn 1 is meaningful, and he just naturally plays Warmonger's Diplomacy.
I think this is a good tech in, like you said, 1 for Warmongers, 2 for the extra block. It's not going to be better than the ability to just throw the card in arsenal, like a bolt and shot off of the Bullseye Bracer break, instantly give it go again. Like that's great, right? Like that's the width Azalea wants to do against some of these turtle decks and set that up. But against a deck like you said, like Katsu, there's no reason not to play this.
There's some cool stuff that you could still do with it. Like it allows you to throw a pump on an all arrow hand, right?
Yeah.
I got it. The Long Draw Half Glove says, instant, destroy this, put 2 cards from your hand and or arsenal on the bottom of your deck. Your next arrow attack this turn gets +4, Battle Worn 1.
Right. The thing is that it is very good against Katsu, but if you're running it in Riptide, Riptide's already incredibly good versus Katsu anyway. Because Tar Pit Trap tells Katsu he doesn't have a turn. Collapsing Trap tells Katsu he doesn't have a turn. Buzzsaw Trap tells Katsu that tenacity that was coming in for 11, coming in for 2, and so on.
Ooh. Literally turns on every single trap.
And then our next one, Our next spoiler is a leak that is,
Mm,
I think, is probably pretty fake. So we're not even going to really talk about any of its details here. But
yeah,
we did
I'd
want to
rather
talk
not.
about the morality of leaks. If someone's trusted you to help them with a spoiler season presentation or a spoiler season anything, and you leak their card, that's not cool. Don't do it.
That is the nicest possible way you could have said that.
Just
I'm gonna leave it at I agree with you and not
And
go
then,
on the rant that I
if
was thinking.
you are lucky enough to get a spoiler season card and you showed off to your friends and it got leaked, that's on you. Don't do that.
Yeah.
LSS are like, not even just LSS, any company that has anything that like that, they're entrusting you to something that's important product. They have a schedule that they want to follow that's going to maximize the publicity for that product. And if you leak it, you're messing that up. You're like literally potentially losing them money. And you're definitely like creating bad feelings. And then if it is fake, great job. Good fake. Really funny.
Yeah, if it was a fake, and I'm kind of leaning towards it's fake until I hear
so
otherwise,
strong.
It is very well done. So kudos for that. I mean, you are a class A troll if that is actually the way things play out.
All I can tell you is if that's real, Flick Knives is gonna like double in price.
Yeah.
That card is the
and
most
concealed
incredible Flick Knives target. Really good.
Oh yeah, it is going to be.
That's why
really...
it's gotta be fake, right?
We'll see.
Well, I hope so. A strong card. Like, that's really good.
The person who did it like was really convincing. They numbered it correctly. The art fits the art style. I think it's AI generated, so you can't even like reverse image search it to try to prove it false. So I guess we'll see. But yeah, that was interesting. Anyone got anything else? Respect Prism?
I don't think so. Yeah,
Just
respect Prism. Discard your cards.
Always got to do that. There's a lot of pummels.
You may not have
join the Cult of New.
Yeah, join the Cult of New. You may not have to respect Kano as much anymore. If the Prisms are running Wonton, Kano hates that matchup.
Yeah, I have already decided that Kano is a cursed matchup for me, so I'm not going to win it anyway. So I've taken out some of my AB, and I may take out a little bit more. Yeah, I'm back down to AB1.
We've been talking about the same thing with hatchets. It's not that there is not enough pressure to put upon the Kano to ever make them spill their hand faster than they need to, and the only way to block out the pitch stack of 3 Wildfire, 3 Blazing is to have exactly 3. And when are you going to be able to hold those 5 cards? Unless you're sitting there with all 5 of them IPing yourself, and you can't do it. Like,
do you just sit on it and then wait for your tunic counter to come up and throw an axe for lethal? just
no, because you need the tunic counter.
Yeah, you just keep passing. You just keep passing.
Unless you're running balance, and then they also draw on the turn, like draw exactly 2, and then you just draw the extra blue off the balance. Maybe you can squeak out like a different combination. Balance is actually pretty good in the Kano. You won't get the block value for it. You'll just
yeah. When they play Tome of Aether Win, you'll be able to crack it for a card.
Right. But it's you're better off smoothing out the other matchups, in my opinion.
Don't go to 0 AB. Respect Viscerai. I'm seeing some saucy decks from him.
Oh,
and if you're not ready for them, they will bring the pain.
They'll keep some AB.
Course,
Oasis
honestly,
is still a really good card
too.
So. And play Vincent. Just dodge the matchup. You lose a lot of the other ones.
Vincent's good against Prism.
Okay, you won't lose Prism. Maybe.
You might still lose.
That is a very strong argument.
Prism's pretty good.
You might still lose.
Because you technically do need to play a non-attack action to like proc the rune chant that can't be prevented, in which case she could Arclight Sentinel you. She will lose the angels, but you will waste your attack. And all your rune chants.
She get rid of the angels. least one of them.
I mean, the split damage is
No,
nice.
they're all gone. Anything that's like
Well,
ward up,
anything that's flipped is what I'm saying. Yeah,
Yep.
but like usually Prism's not out there, flipping them all over like Yu-Gi-Oh trap cards. There's a method to it.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
I'm not setting a back row of 5 and then just, you've activated all of them. There's a little more nuance to it.
I wouldn't know. I just think Prism is cancer, and I will be respecting her a little bit more.
Player. I feel like
It's-
when you put yourself in the shoes of the deck you hate, you kind of go, oh, this isn't as easy as I thought it was, and I lose a lot more than I thought I was going to.
Now, max respect for good Prism players. A good Prism player is absolutely terrifying to sit across from with a deck that has nothing relevant that it can do without 7 power stuff. I mean, there's some tech that I'm gonna try, but it's tough. It's a tough match.
There is one thing we forgot about. Maybe we'll talk about it next week if we get a little bit more data. We forgot to talk about Battle Hard in San Francisco.
Oh yeah, right.
There was one Betsy.
I mean, that's where the spoilers came from.
One Betsy, and they got top 8. It was Naive, amazing player.
Oh wow, I actually didn't know that. That's awesome.
And 10 Azaleas, 10 Prisms. Yeah, so this is the Azalea Prism meta at the moment, if you haven't noticed, guys. Azalea Prism KO. So have game plans for those decks or lose.
Yep.
All right.
Anything else?
Take us out of here.
Take us out.
Well, social media plugs. Noah, where can everybody find you?
At Big Max Fab on Twitter and Twitch.tv.
Thomas?
I'm Wet the System Fab on Twitter, and anywhere you see Wet the System, it's probably me.
Yeah, I am Draco Hominus87 on anywhere social media is sold. Fabric.gg. I write several different article series. This week I've got a UPF brew, and I've finally decided that it's going to be Vincent. So expect a spicy Vincent UPF brew article to come out this Friday. Otherwise, I am the ambassador of new in the Cult of New Discord. Join that. Again, gonna plug that as many times as it takes. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We hope you enjoyed catching up with us this week, and if you did, subscribe or follow, depending on where you found us, to catch us again next time. Until then, take care of yourselves, and remember, we are all siblings in cardboard.
Better discard your cards. Do it.